good afternoon. So today I was talking to my friend Kathy. We were at the Pancake House, and while we were at the Pancake House, we were sitting there talking about like some of the greats, and for each experience, and how my experience is going to be completely different than somebody else's experience, but however very similar at the same time. Depending on the facets of the music that you listen to, is depending on the programs and the seeds that you allow within yourself in order for you to be able to experience and open up your mind and eyes to a reality for which they see. And then so we were talking about some of the stuff, and then I was like, well, if you really do look at some of the greats, like, so for instance, if you look at Tupac, baby, so if you look at Tupac, then you actually see the different portals of his mind. And the thing is that it's, he was one facet within a multi-dimensional reality of multiple creators experiencing a different form of reality. He really, he was in a program and a design of, we'll say, of lesser means, right? So a group of an area to keep a targeted group held down. And so when he was going against the current, he's looking at it like, well, what the fuck? He's like, well, this shit is real. Like, these motherfuckers are literally shitting energy on me. They're really, and it's very true. Like, those that are similar, you would automatically assume that they're going to be very much on the same side. But the truth is that, what they say, a sheep wears, wolf's clothes or something, clothes, you know what I mean? And then so it's the same thing. So all of a sudden now you had to really look at the facets of the individual and their mind and their thought process. So you're like, well, so if we're very similar, if we look alike, does that mean that we are alike? And then all of a sudden it's like, no, fuck that. Hell no. No, we're not alike at all. Why are we not alike? We look similar. Well, because of the afflection, because of the afflection of the deception of the reality for which you are trying to hold and keep hold, instead of allow people to be broke free from. And so, like when he went ahead and he said, love everybody, but go ahead and trust no one. And all of a sudden I'm like, well, damn, those are deep words. Like, how are you going to sit there and you're going to tell people these type of words? Because to me, it's like, well, no, the reality that you live in, you want to love, you want to be considerate, you want to be good unto those that you're around. Well, the truth is you never know what in that moment is going to change somebody. You never know of the experience. Some people believe in religion. Some people don't believe in religion. Some people believe in spirit. Some people don't. Some people believe that if you ingest food, you're ingesting spirit. Well, each facet of that individual is determined by multiple things at a current moment. And the thing is that person that today is different tomorrow. And so it's like these very strong things that I look at, and I'm like, well, damn. I'm like, this is, it's intense to really look at, but to really channel. So, because you're gifted like that. If you're able to hear the vibration of that individual, you're able to see it within yourself and be able to live their experience. And then so I'm looking and I'm like, well, that's intense. Like, that's very intense, because, if you're really being open to multi-facets of a reality, at a younger age, but then all of a sudden it's like, well, you're open to these facets and these realities, but yet your family is underneath a program to keep you, oh, well, no, it's good to be able to do this. It's okay to do this. Don't do that. Don't, you know what I mean? Because they're a product of, the belief systems that have been instilled, from their own family and their line, as well as the society and the collectiveness of that town, of that country, of that individual's family, or whatnot. And then so I'm like, well, so then you get these beautiful babies, they're born, and then all of a sudden they're open to multi-facets of reality. But then all of a sudden when they're open to these multi-facets of reality, it's like, but they're in a family where they're seeding a different program. But these beautiful souls are very open to the reality that they're in. And they're like, well, you're speaking is a false. It's not true. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, how long are they able to withstand that before they fall victim to the matrix of that reality? And the thing is that, a parent, a loved one, society and stuff like that, they do things out of wanting to take care of, to want to provide, to give safety, and they do that through the beliefs that they've embodied within themselves. And that's the thing. It's like, well, if you're truly holding them, with these belief systems, not really seeing the greater truth of, reality and the constructs of the reality that you're in that does keep a certain mold or a certain hold, because to me, it's, the perception of, well, if you really look at the music, well, it's broad span. You can only listen to certain types of music. If you listen through the genres of the music, it's legit. It's, like I'm very big with love music, and it's always like, well, I can't live without you. I can't have my world without you in it. And if you're gone, ain't no sunshine. You know what I mean? And it's these things, and I'm like, whoa, stop right there. You fucking my shit up. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, wow. And I'm going through all the music, you know what I mean? And it's like, so certain ones are able to kind of slide through, but only with a limited amount. And then it's the same thing even with love and with all that, because it's, again, if the society is held by a certain type of programs that are being implemented by those that are actually, aligned chakrally or vocally, that actually, got their throat chakra very activated, where they're able to assist on programming, where they're able to get into a certain vibration to be able to help instill a different program into people. Well, why not pay them to display the message that you're doing in order to help control a reality or a facet or a community? And I'm like, well, fuck. I'm like, well, that's kind of intense. And then I'm thinking about it. I'm like, but some of these motherfuckers are, because they say they're like, well, they're a sellout. Well, they're a sellout. Why? Because you get these powerful groups that get all over a motherfucker and do some mystical shit. And then all of a sudden they're just getting beat up. And then they end up just doing whatever the fuck they're doing, because there's no way that they could explain shit without looking fucking vatos locos. You get what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, they're really, once they're into the alignment of, they're really the network out there to be able to help support and guide and develop the new future. You know what I mean? By really breaking down the walls and rebuilding them. And then for each facet of that, I like that word facet, baby. For each one of those great moments of, knowing that you're giving back, like how they say give service or do service. Well, even though, those that are perceiving that those individuals are a sellout, well, really it's, well, how much of a change can I truly make if I stay down here and not get up here, where I could actually help support those that are down here to speak the truth, to give the true word, to give true freedom. And it's like, I do look at some of these artists, and I do look at some of these individuals in these vessels, like, I appreciate you. I think that you're amazing. I think that everything that you're doing, it takes balls. You know what I mean? If you listen to some of them lyrics, if you look at Michael Jackson sitting there talking about they don't care, they don't, this, and I'm like, who the fuck you talking about? Who we talking about, Mikey? Who we talking about, baby? You know what I mean? Because again, it depends on your belief systems and the things that you've embodied to believe in, whether it's spirit, whether it's, different lineage of different type of things, you know what I mean? So it's for you to be able to find out. It's not for another one to sit there and say, well, this is what it is, because their projection of that might be a little bit different than your perception of. But then once you start really opening up to the channels and the portals of that individual, then you're able to really understand more so whenever you re-listen to the lyrics, and it's because you're experiencing a very similar multitude of facets of the reality for which they've got to experience. And so when I'm looking at that, and I'm like, well, fuck, man, like, poor Mike, man. I could only imagine, like, the energetic codes, those that are very gifted telepathically, those are very good, on some very metaphysic type things. And I'm like, that poor angel, he didn't even know who to trust, baby. He didn't even know really, like, who he can go to, because who you're supposed to go to, the metaphysic fucking police, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, the council, I don't know, baby. And then you look at other ones too, like, who would be another one? You look at Beyonce, you know what I mean? I'm listening to some of her words, and then she's like, I'm sitting here and I'm fighting demons. And I was like, are they inner demons, girl, or are they real ones? Like, what's going on, baby? And, it's, again, the perception. So, the individual and their experience that they're really actually experiencing. Do you believe in, that there are those out there to deceive man? Do you believe that there are those that are out there to uplift man? Do you believe that some people could actually have a different essence in them and it's not totally fucking pure? Like, this shit ain't cool. So again, it's like my heart goes out to you, baby. My heart goes out to you for you are the one that's actually fighting against a greater design. And that's the thing is, again, it's a peer, you know what I mean? It's, for each level that you go on to is for another I think for every spiritual gift that you obtain, for every modality, for every advancement, whether it's going to be more telepathy or whether it's going to be doing your sixth sense, whether it's going to be third eye activation, cognizant, there's a couple other ones, audio, visual, you know what I mean? So depending on each one that you're actually activating and each one that you're actually being able to harness and being able to learn is going to depend on, the reality for which you see, and it will alter. And it's very funny, depending on the things that you activate is depending on the alteration of the fucking reality. So, what do you do, baby? So again, it's like, really being, into really seeing that you could literally learn to harness different energetics within yourself and being able to learn and train the self in order for you to be able to vibrate differently. So it's very funny because it's like the thought process is a vibration. So if you say more negative words, if you say more cuss words, if you say these things, well, guess what? Your vibration of your being is going to be lower. So that means that you're more subjected to lower level things. Well, if you alter some of your perceptions and you do things that raise your vibration, like dance, like sing, like being good to people, it raises you. It raises you to a point where you're not affected by certain things. And then so I'm like, oh, okay, well that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But you're still a foundation of the design. You know what I mean? At least within the reality. And so I'm looking at myself and I'm like, well, motherfucker, you're a sweet guy. You're a good person. Why is it that you're experiencing everything that you've got to? Why are you experiencing everything that you're experiencing? And when I'm asking myself like these very deep questions, and it's like, well, I don't know, because I think some of my teachings, are for the personal self and it's not for other people. And the thing is that the truth is that, within my mind and the constructs of my mind is believing that if I speak the truth for which I've seen, I don't want somebody to embody everything that I speak as their truth, because I don't want them to have the similar or same experience. You know what I mean? So I think depending on that character, that individual, that essence, and depending on the way that they're trying to display what they're trying to give onto other people, I think, does take some mindfulness and some understanding of, other people, depending on their embodiments and depending on how susceptible they are to certain things. Because, are you really more programmed negative or are you more programmed positive? And for which that you are, take a look at it. Well, look at yourself every day. Are you really talking down when you see somebody? Are you pointing out a flaw? Or are you pointing out something amazing about them? When you're walking through the day, if you drop something and you're saying like, oh my gosh, Lovins, let me clean that up. You know what I'm saying? Or you're like, well, fuck my life. This is fucking horrible. I'm never going to do this again. It's like, well, shit, that's not right. Don't not repeat those. You know what I mean? So don't repeat these type of vibrations. So again, it's going to be, different facets of that. And then really honestly get to know the people that you're around, get to know, you know what I mean? Get to know how they affect you as a person, get to know that whatever you're experiencing, sometimes isn't due to the simple fact of you're just experiencing something different because you're in a different area. It could be the person, you know what I mean? Because really, unless you really know that individual or the things that they practice, do you really know of what capabilities that individual would have? So some people are very good, again, energetic. Some people are very good with masking, an illusion of the self. My mom used to call that two-faced. Like, that bitch is nothing but two-faced. Fuck that hoe. And I'm like, oh, okay, And then my mom had like sweet names like Snapper Pussy. And I'm like, what the fuck is Snapper Pussy? She's like, a pussy that bites back. I said, okay. Okay, ma, you a fucking sweet angel. But, you know, and it's looking at the different, you know, like even looking at my mom. You know what I'm saying? Really looking the way that we were raised and stuff like that, you know. Again, like even the programs of, you know, a family. So my family came from a city, you know what I mean? And then my mom got out of the city. But my mom never left. She never left the city. So it was like next thing you know, you're in a town, you know, full of nothing but white people. And then you got my mom sitting there listening to like Tupac, Biggie, and Too Short, you know what I mean? And then here it is. My mom will go to the club and she's like, well, where's that Tupac at? Give me Tupac. And I'm like, you know, like, okay, you know, do your thing. And then all of a sudden I was wondering, because I couldn't help but to reflect on the things. Like, you know, when I would go and sit there and be with my mom and then come back out to, you know, to my dad's. And then I was like, gosh, you know what? There was many times that my mom she was having extra hard times. And I wasn't understanding why. And you know what I mean? It's, again, the energetics of those that are around you and those that have the capability of using their magic, you know what I mean? It really can affect another vessel, even whether or not it's intentional or if it's not intentional or if it is, you know? And then I was really looking at it and I was like, you know, because there was times where my mom was just like, you know, like she puked and she's like, get it out of me. And I'm like, get the fuck? What the fuck is going on, sweetness? You know, like, and you know, it's, again, the perception of the reality for which you're in. And, you know, my mom she was amazing. She was beautiful. You know, people would call her a saint, you know, and to me, she is. And then it's like, you know, really going against the grain again of a society or a town, while all of a sudden your friends are looking at you like, what are you putting on? Why are you putting that on? Excuse me? What's up, bitch? I'll put on whatever the fuck I want. But it's very funny because, you know, my mom really stood very true to who she was and the embodiments that she had. And when I look at everything that I'm experiencing, I look back at my mom, and it's my mom. You know what I mean? Like, my mom didn't give a fuck. She didn't give a fuck what other people thought. She didn't care. You know what I mean? She'll run out there with a hammer. You know what I mean? And she was just a different person. She was a different essence. And it's, again, another reasons why I'm so blessed. You know, I'm blessed because, you know, having family that sit there, you know what I mean, that gangbanged or something that was different, you know, like sitting there, you know, brothers like having a 9mm and then just, you know, like here, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Having friends, you know, like Bruce, you know, he got shot a couple times, I think 11 times actually. They would call him Lucky. And so you would be able to really see like these very beautiful, beautiful vessels that were very open in the heart. You know what I mean? It was pure love. It was, you know what I mean? But it was still like a thuggish type of way. It was still like, well, no, let's hit this place. You know what I mean? Like, let's go ahead and let's do this real quick, and then, you know, go on with the rest of the day. So it's, again, different perspectives. And then all of a sudden, when you would leave that area and then you would go into the suburbs, all of a sudden it was like, they would look at me and being like, you're crazy. You're the good crazy, but you're crazy. And I'm like, well, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. Because how is it that the reality could be so fucking different? And it really is due to the people and their upbringing. Like, for us, we got to dance, we got to sing, we got to rap, we got to hug, we got to give sugars, we got to give kisses, you know what I mean? And we got to love on each other. And to us, it wasn't even a thing that was like considered a bad thing. It was smiled upon, you know, within my family. And then the next thing I know, when I would come out there, oh, you hug too much. Oh, why I always want to give a hug and a kiss? Because I fucking love you and I want to give you a kiss. What the fuck? What the fuck? But again, you know, it's you know, the perceptions of people and the different forms of, you know, if you're being raised watching, you know, all these other programs versus another group of people watching different type of programs, well, you got two different types, you know what I mean? And there's many out there, but that's what I'm saying is that, bam, It's again, the perception. So to me, it's all fine dandy, it's amazing, but again, it all falls down to, again, the breakdowns. You know what I mean? Because again, now, so if we're not going to go with music, let's go with TV. You know what I mean? The perceptions of television, and the illusion that they cast out onto society in order for it to train the program of the subconscious of the mind, in order for them to implement on the way that society should be built and the way that society should be conformed on, is considered as normal. And for each person, they're going to view, oh, well, we're similar, we're very much alike, because we watch the same things. Well, that's the fucking reason. That's the fucking reason why you're friends. That's the reason why your programs are so is because you literally are programming each other with the same shit. So you're friends. Get the friend with the different program. Get the one that thinks differently. Get the one that that practices arts. You know what I'm saying? Get the one that's looking at the chakras, clearing the chakras. Get that one friend that doesn't believe it. Get the friend that believes it. Get the friend that, you know what I mean? Because again, each one is connected to the divine. Each one's connected to source. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter the different type, but the thing is that for each has a true. You know what I mean? Just be very mindful again of the individual and the way that they're going to affect you, because these motherfuckers affect you. And whether you believe that some are out there to deliberately deceive and some are not, well, you be the judge. Are they holding you back? Are they lifting you up? Are they seeding words of doubt and fear into you? Oh, don't go there, it might be this, it might be that. It's across the fucking street. It's across the street. Another thing, it's another thing too. I remember like when we were growing up, like in the suburbs, like when I would go see my other family, it was a whole bunch of girls. And then all of a sudden, like even with the girls, it was, do not go out by yourself. Do not, you know what I mean? You have to have like a little pack. And I'm like, okay, well that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it does make sense, but all of a sudden, without even realizing it, you just seeded this program into these beautiful babies sitting there talking about they're not going to be safe without other people. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. And especially if you're really in the suburbs. But again, it's the perception of the person. It's the perception of, which a lot of my cousins are pretty badass, baby. But again, it's going to be different perceptions and, different forms of reality. So as of right now, I'm still looking to understand greater detail of the reality for which I'm trying to have a better understanding of, because it doesn't really matter the way that I'm literally trying to mold it or shape it myself, literally being a powerful creator of the self and rewiring the subconscious in order for me to create the reality of the image that I'm looking to perceive, in order for me to create that reality output. You know what I'm saying? In order for me to actually get into that realm of, well, I've definitely done some reprogrammings, but the thing is that it's still, no matter what, at the end of the day, I'm still going through different learning tools. I'm still going through different facets of the mind, and my experience is truly a different experience. And so again, the knowledge that I'm learning could be, you could have the same experience that I'm having, but the knowledge that you get from it could be different. And so again, for each truth is true. For each experience is truly an individual experience. And so how they always say, you know what I mean, in order for you to, look at the bodies, look at the mind body, look at the energetic body, look at the type of abilities that you already naturally have. And if you do believe into these things, if you put belief and power behind it, then that means that if you believe that you clearing your energetic body is by going into nature, knowing that, the world around you is actually going to flush out the energetics of your vessel, you know what I mean? For you to connect back onto earth. Well, connect back onto earth. If you know that, you going outside and you hanging out with your friends and you going ahead and getting on the dance floor, it's gonna make you feel good. Well, I'm gonna let you know on a secret, baby. is that the reason why you're feeling good is because you're pulling a different type of energetic. That means that you're flooding your body with that. And if you're flooding your body with this different type of energetic, that means that you're raising your energetics. So if you legit, come from a household where there wasn't dancing and there wasn't singing, there wasn't any of that, and then all of a sudden you start experiencing it, and then you're like, wow, why is life so amazing? I never knew, like, getting out there and dancing and falling and, doing these things really changed who I am. And the thing is that it's always who you've always been. It's just about the experience of you never actually going after a different type of experience in order for you to get a different type of energetic. So dancing, baby. And then, oh, by the way, like a pretty cool thing too is depending on the type of movements, is depending on type of vibration. So you got cool things like ancient dance, you got, tribal dances, you got, if you believe in spirit, that means that you're going to be calling it in. That means whenever you're hitting some of the movements, you're literally going to be calling in that tribe, baby. Whenever you're looking at any of the other practices, whenever you're looking to see the different type of foods, see how it affects you, see the different ways, start playing with the energetics. Now they say, marijuana is now legal, right? Well, I say still grow your own. I still say grow your own, because there's different types out there, baby. And then so it does make you more sensitive. It makes you more sensitive because it allows you to have a different perception of the mind. But you're allowed to be able to actually feel more energetic. So move the energetics in your vessel, move the energetics in your body. Play with the energy. You know what I mean? Get a partner. Get you know what I'm saying? Start practicing transferring energy to one another. You know what I mean? Like, well, could you feel that? Could you not feel that? You know what I mean? Let me try it again. Play with all the stuff. Play with some of the telepathy. Play with, get flashcards. Have your person right there in front of you. You know what I mean? And then look at the image and being like, all right, I'm sending it to you. But really focus. I'm giving it to you, baby. And, it's focused on these beautiful little things, because I think whenever you're doing it with somebody on a very face-to-face value, it keeps you away from some of the seeds of the deception that's within certain concepts of the forms of reality that you're in. But again, it's, an individual path, an individual cycle. So if you believe doing kindness back into the world helps others as well as yourself, well, do that kindness. And if you believe that you cutting off from the world is keeping you protected from the world, well, that's your belief, that's your perception, and I don't think that, anybody has the right to tell you that what you're experiencing is a false, because again, your reality is very true. And if you feel that you really have to segregate yourself in order for you to be able to embody certain energetics or certain things that you're experiencing within the reality that you're in, sweet angel, it's your mind, it's your thought process, it's the ways that you embody things. You take your sweet time and you do things that you feel right, because no one could speak for you, only you could speak for the self. But what I can say is that I know for me, I need to be around people. You know what I mean? I want to be around people. I want to sit there and have a conversation being like, hey, look, this is what the fucking matrix of the reality is like. You know what I mean? Or, but obviously with somebody that's already open, depending on what they've experienced, and, depending on, how mine's going to respond to their experience as well, And so, again, the life is amazing and it's greatness, and swimming naked is beautiful. Going hiking is beautiful. Making new friends is beautiful. Learning that there are far more greater things in life than waking up, looking at your phone, going to work, coming back home, watch TV or look at your phone, maybe hit the gym a lot every day, you know. But, you know, like, take the time to really learn, you know, research, you know. I mean, there's a lot of mystical, great stuff out there, you know, like chakras is one of them. Kundalini is another. Like, activate the chakras, activate all different portals of yourself. Start playing with that. Start being kind to yourself by not bypassing the gifts that you're blessed with. Take advantage of that. Instead of your spare time, you know, being on Facebook, which I do sometimes here and there, you know, literally research some of the stuff and start practicing it. Have fun with it. Like, for those that have babies, like, legit, like, light a candle, put a candle down and be like, let's do a staring contest. Like, you want to talk about, you know what I mean? The spiritual stuff can be very fun. Whether or not you believe in training the mind or targeting the thought processing, focusing it on one specific area in order for them to have a stronger mind, in order for them to have a better output onto the reality that they're trying to create later on, or even the one that they're currently in. But again, if your mind's a muscle, you got to exercise it, right? So reading a book is a form of meditation. You know, it's, you know, all these great things. Again, you know, make some of the great things fun. Make it a true good experience. And you know, like, I might have dogged, you know, a little bit of the concepts of, you know, some of the music, you know what I mean? But honestly, there's music out there that opens up the heart chakra, that opens up the heart portal, you know what I mean? There's certain ones, depending on the type of drums that they're doing, it activates your root. Sometimes whenever you're listening to some of these artists and all of a sudden you're hearing the beat, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, oh, I'm feeling good. Well, it's activating you. There's certain activations. There's reasons why you're listening, baby. And again, you know, the artist, depending on their gifts, you know, it's, you know, they channel their body to get into a certain frequency. So whenever they're hitting that type of drum, they're legit adding a stronger current within the frequency that comes out of that drum. So again, I don't know what I'm doing. But what I do know, baby, is that I just was thinking of some stuff and I wanted to share it. So I hope everybody's having a great day and a great night, and I'm figuring out what I'm doing today, baby. You guys have a good night. Mucha love, baby. Mucha love. Namaste.